So good afternoon. Thank you everybody for coming here. First of all, I would like to introduce the person here and to thank the person here for coming. So we have here Jeroen van de Heuvel. Yes. Correct me if the pronunciation is a little okay. Okay, thank you. So he's a senior member of the board of the HISWA. HISWA is the, I would say, the Dutch Confindustria Nautica. So the Dutch Association of the Boat Builders in the market. Then we have here Piero Formenti, Vice President of Confindustria Nautica. We have Marcel Boesman, which is the CEO of VETUS-Maxwell. And then we have here Angelo Ciocca, which is the MEP. So it's for Italian speaking Europarlamentare. Okay, so thank you everybody for coming, especially the ones that came from the Netherlands. Thank you very much for this interesting meeting. So just a few words, because I remember when we started to talk about this meeting. It was in a video meeting with Davide there. So we discussed about how to, about this exhibition in general, and then a kind of flash in our minds. And I made a proposal to Davide and I said, well, we don't, we are a Dutch company. It's a Dutch-based company. It's a global company, but it's Dutch-based. In the Netherlands, they have already a lot of electric propulsion boats, but also cars. So it's a kind of realistic and well introduced and used for many people there in the Netherlands. So they started many years ago with electric. So why we don't do a kind of meeting where people from the Netherlands introduce and explain how they did. They explain the market and why they are a few years forward compared to Italian people. So now we are here, so I'm very proud of this meeting. So I would like to start asking a question to Jeroen, which is a member of the HISWA. So I would like to understand from you what are the characteristics of the Dutch market and why you are. You have it's already. The electric is real now, and it's not only a talking between people.
No, but you have to understand. Thank you. You have to understand that the Netherlands is a very small country. From north to south, it's only 3 hours drive, and from east to west, it's only 2 hours drive. So we are a very small country with a lot of inland waterways. Over there, we have more or less than 4,000 entrepreneurs in the water sport industry, and around 300,000 boats used. So it's a very small country with a lot of inland waterways. And on inland waterways, electrical propulsion is more obvious than going on the big waters like Italian.
The characteristics of the market and the builders, the boat builders, and how the market is structured. Do you think that is quite similar to Italy?
No, I'm afraid it's not. We have a lot of day boats, day-use boats, open sailing boats, open motorboats, a lot of them. And we build especially the iron, the steel motorboats. We have some sailing boat companies, but not too much. We are more motorboat based, and that's quite different than here in Italy. We have also 10 or 12 mega yacht builders, yeah, and they are comparison to the Italian industry.
Well, I understand your point. I understand that the Netherlands is a much smaller country compared to Italy, but you have a lot of canals.
Yeah.
So it's like you call the inland waterways. So we have in Italy not what you have, but you have a lot of lakes, big lakes. So I see this kind of similarities. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the usage of those boats can be similar from the Netherlands to Italy.
Oh, I think so. But in the Netherlands, it's just one area. Here you have lakes, and I don't know if you can go from one lake to another lake by boat. But in the Netherlands, we have around 4,000 or 5,000 kilometers of inland waterways, and you can sail around. On this 5,000 kilometers, there are 1,100 marinas. So on average, every 5 kilometers, you see a marina. So there's a plug for your charging as well.
Yeah, understandable. But I believe that, I mean, when you started almost from zero, I mean, like we are doing here in Italy. So what do you see as the main barriers that you found in your market for developing the electric?
We see a lot of hesitation by boat owners because they think it's slow and it's only bring you not that far away, even though that every 5 kilometers you can charge. Yeah. And we think that a lot of boaters like to have more power in their boat than electrical can deliver for a longer time. So we see in our land, in our country, we see a lot of smaller boats, electric propulsions, day sailors, open sloops, open motorboats for smaller canals. And what we did in the past, about 15 years ago, there is an ISO standard. Already at that time, there was an ISO standard. And besides the ISO standard, we make our own standards, just to say what is a safe boat electric propulsion and what is not safe. And when do we have a warning and where you don't have a warning. Besides the regulation, we ask the government to support, not by paying the boats, but by paying this kind of shows. So in the HISWA boat show in water and also on the shore side, we have also this kind of boats, electrical boat shows, just to spread out the word that it's safe and it's good and the techniques are there. And we see the techniques are growing. We see that more boats can use electrical propulsion, but there's a maximum of the capacity of the batteries, especially. Yeah.
Sure. And I would like to ask you another question, because we always talk about how to develop the electric in our business, I mean, in our market. But how important is to you the regulation part, the legislative part, so the role of the politicians in this, according to your experience in the Netherlands?
You're moving to Amsterdam, I think, aren't you?
I think so, I agree.
Well, Amsterdam decided many years ago that they like to have electric propulsion boats only in the canals. At first it was the total of Amsterdam, which is an area of, I think, some kilometers long and from north to south. But now it's only the canals in the center of the city. And there, from 2025, you are allowed to go there when your boat is fully electric or hybrid, but then you have to make sure that your main engine is off.
That you are inside the canal, you switch to electric.
Yeah, exactly. Before that, we don't have a boat registration system in the Netherlands. And the first thing was that they developed a boat registration system, so that they know who's the owner of the boat, and then there's a boat not on electric, then you can know who to send the fine to. That was an important one. And how you arrange it that your boat is electric, that's up to you. So whatever you choose from another engine or whatever, that's up to you. In the center, you can lay with your boat when it's electric, and you can sail with your boat when it's electric. And also in just out the center, there are more marinas for charging. And now they are developing a system for charging the boats in the center as well. The woman behind all this, the politicians, she moved from Amsterdam to Utrecht. She's mayor over there, and she copied the legislation from Amsterdam to Utrecht. So that's the second city with the same legislation, that in the center of Utrecht, it's also by 2025, it's allowed to sail there only on electric propulsion.
So it's easy, you just need to bring this woman to another city after that.
I think she's going, yeah. I think she's spreading the word. Yeah. The good thing about it is that it brings a lot of noise with it. I mean, also boaters from outside Amsterdam, they know that there's an electrical system over there, that it's fully safe to sail on electric, that it's capable, that you can charge, and we think there's more positiveness about the legislation than it was 5 years ago.
Right. So I agree with what you said, even if I don't have direct experience with the Netherlands in the regulation part, but I believe that this part, the regulation part, is very, very important. Maybe one of the most important, yeah. Thank you very much. I would like to remain for a while in the Netherlands. So I would like to ask a question to Marcel. So Marcel is the CEO of VETUS Group. So I would like to ask a question from past to present and future. So first of all, when VETUS started with the electric, what is doing now and what are the plans for the future?
Yeah, VETUS started in the early 80s with a small unit, 2.2 kilowatts. At that time, the adoption with customers was slow. So we sold units, but it was for the more environmental aware people. So not a widespread solution. In the meantime, we have a program that goes up to 10 kilowatts in both an inline solution and an outboard type solution. And we will expand that to 20 kilowatts. But the moment you increase the power of the unit, you also have to think about the battery capacity, the charging possibilities. And in general, I think that is something you have to understand, that the use of energy in a boat application is heavily depending on, of course, the size of the boat, etc., but that is all what we know, but also on the speed that you try to reach with the vessel. And one of the main outcomes that VETUS found out is that many boats are overpowered. So they have a lot of diesel power on board, where in reality, when you identify the scarceness of energy on board, then you realize that the 50 horsepower, 100, 200, 300 horsepower is, most of the time overpowering boats. That's especially the case in water displacement boats, but even in semi-displacement boats, that's also the case. And with a battery pack, you have limitations in terms of pulling energy out of, let's say, not the diesel tank, but the battery pack.
So do you think also that there is a kind of, I would say, misunderstanding of the people in terms of power required when they select the...
Yes. Yes, my impression is when you ask people, we have a device where you can show the power consumption at that particular moment. So then I ask people, okay, how much kilowatts do you think we are using? And they say, that must be 8, 10, for a smaller vessel. And it's only 2 or 3. So people overestimate the power they need, or they think they need, in the particular application. And I think that is basically lost energy. So given the limitation of a battery pack, you better make sure that you are very, aware on how you use your drivetrain in that sense.
Yeah, this is what happens normally also with the diesel, because most of the people are expecting much more power than what they really need in reality. Yes, please go ahead.
Only about what he's saying, it is really true and important. We must know also that I talk like boat builder.
Like boat builder.
Like a boat builder, and Confindustria Nautica is an association of the nautical industries in Italy. Now we are talking about traveling on the water, on the sea, on the lake, on the channels, from here to there, how many times we can go there, if we need to go so speed, if we need so much power. But the people who use pleasure boats, normally they want sporty boats. So they are not thinking how I have to go there, like a train or a bus. I want to go fast. I want to enjoy the fastness of the boats. So we have to change also our, as you were saying, our way to think about the pleasure. So it's not only something you used to make a race on the sea, but it's something you need to enjoy the sea. That doesn't mean that you have to go 60 or 80 knots. But in this moment, the mentality of the customer, so the industry is obliged to follow also. We can try to change, but we have to follow the mentality of the customers. The mentality of the customer is that we want to go fast, because I have to go faster than my friend. I have to be the most, I can give you an example. We are fighting with the RCD regulations, because the RCD not fighting not against. We have a RCD regulation that gives us some specific calculation to decide the power of the boat. Okay? And then all the customers try to go over this regulation. They say, okay, my boat have 150 horsepower maximum at meter. They say, yes, but we can do something. We can do the turn test because I want 200. I say, this is not only Italian. It's really all over the world, especially in Europe. The Deutsch, for example, they want you have 150. I want 200. And so this mentality is very difficult to change, to go in the direction you were saying. But I think should be the big challenge of the future.
Yeah, I agree with what you said. And a question to you, Piero. What is Confindustria Nautica? What is the point of view of the association, and what is doing for on the electric side of the boat building?
Okay, coming now to the association side.
Change your hat.
I changed my hat. Okay, we are member and founder of EBI, European Boat Industry Association, and we are of course members also by ICOMIA. So the European Industry Association, Nautical Industry Association, and the worldwide, it's ICOMIA association. With EBI, so Confindustria Nautica, together with EBI, is cooperating and talking with the European Parliament and with the ISO organization, where we decide the rules. And we try to make rules together with the institutions that can be applied on the industry, and that can be to create an RCD regulation, so recreational craft regulation, that is possible to do, that we can really build this boat. And around 4 years ago, we started to think about the decarbonization, the need of the decarbonization we have. And I was saying you before are the problem we have. He was saying about battery pack not enough, I don't know, point in marinas to charge. And but we started 2 years ago to speak about this and to talk with the European Parliament, because we must do something. And for example, imagine maybe you have the perfect battery you have that can have a big, very small, light, and with many hours of possibility to use, but in fact we don't have rules. So all the RCD are done for the normal engines, for the normal boat. So we strictly need something to, if we want to have, to start to have electrical propulsion, we need to have rules also, because then the companies, the industries need to know how they have to produce boats that have to be used in that way, where to put the batteries, where the battery is not dangerous, where how the engine has to be built, how it has to be mounted, because you must know that CE, for example, certifications done with the ISO, are the focus of these rules is on the safety of the consumers, of the safety of the boaters. So we have a big lack of rules, and this is you were saying before. This is the first step, and we are doing this. It's not easy because we have to combine many needs and many interests. The industry, the environment, the ecology, the pleasures, the boaters. So this is a very big job that is started already and not easy to do, but we think is something, in fact, mandatory in the next years.
Clear. So today we are very lucky, so we have a member of the MEP, so Europarlamentare, so thank you very much, Angelo Ciocca, for joining us, which is very important for us. So apparently here, all the people here agree that, I mean, on top of the electrification, the most important thing, or one of the most important thing, is to have regulations for the electrification on the marine business. So what is the question is what in Italy and in Europe what you are doing, and the second question, do you think that the boating can follow the path that has done in the automotive, or it will follow a different one?
Okay. Good afternoon. Nice to meet you. Welcome to Milano. Welcome to Idroscalo. My English is not good, but my Italian is bad. But I prefer in Italy, and you can you help me? And you translate, please. I prefer speak Italian for this argument, for this subject, and thank you for this exchange, per questo scambio.
For this exchange of ideas.
Opinion. Exchange opinions. No, preferisco per l'argomento, e anche in virtù del fatto che ho così una simpatia, dove è possibile, anche magari sfruttando la traduzione, poter rispondere alle due domande che mi avete fatto in italiano. Sulla prima, poi magari fermami quando vuoi tradurre. Sulla prima è sicuramente importante l'attività del legislatore.
So on the first question, so it's very important what the politicians, so the people that are in charge of making the regulation, what they are doing.
In primo luogo la parte autorizzativa, la parte burocratica. Il labirinto autorizzativo è un elemento importante nell'elettrificazione delle nostre abitudini.
So the first very important part is the authorization of all the before getting the regulation done, all the authorization that are before that part.
E in secondo piano una leva di incentivo fiscale, che chiamiamolo credito d'imposta, chiamiamolo bonus, fondamentale per abbattere i costi.
And another important part is the incentives, like fiscal incentives that needs to be given for the companies and for the people to change their approach, so change to electric.
Quindi questi sono sicuramente i due temi su quali la politica italiana deve focalizzarsi: sburocratizzare il più possibile il settore e incentivarlo con agevolazioni fiscali.
So those are the
Sburocratizzare. Sburocratizzare.
So reduce,
No, sburocratizzare. Sburocratizzare.
reduce the bureaucracy that is behind.
In merito alla seconda domanda, se il settore dell'auto è molto diverso dal settore della nautica, io ritengo di no, forse anzi la nautica ovviamente nei brevi tragitti può avere anche dei vantaggi maggiori rispetto all'auto che va su un mercato che non sappiamo se il tragitto è breve o se il tragitto è lungo.
So that the boating can have similarities with the automotive, because when you use a boat, you use normally for a limited amount of time compared to the automotive when you use your car.
Bravissimo, l'ansia da ricarica sui tragitti brevi è sicuramente meno. D'altronde, se pensiamo a fine 800, il primo motore al mondo era elettrico, cioè non è che scopriamo...
That's another important point, because Angelo Ciocca also is in MIP, but he's an engineer, and his thesis, he told me before that his thesis, when he graduated on the university, was on this, so on the electric motor. So
Yes. Quindi il primo motore fine 800 era elettrico, quindi la motivazione per il quale non ha trovato uno spazio, forse qualche interesse economico sul petrolio, ma anche sulla ansia da ricarica, sulla difficoltà di elettrificare ovviamente il territorio.
So they started before with the electric motors than with the diesel, with the combustion engine. So we started in the late 80s, but maybe according to, and I can agree with Angelo Ciocca that maybe they were behind a very high and different interest.
If I can say something. Posso
Sì,
andare
sì.
avanti?
Prego, sì.
We cannot say it's the same between cars and boats. There is a big difference. And that's why I was talking about strict importance of making rules, specific rules, especially technical rules, the RCD. Because if your car is stopping, you go on the side of the road and you walk. If you are in the middle of the sea, it's not the same thing. So the safety of the people, the safety of the consumer is very important. That's why we need rules. Because I don't say that electric is not good because you risk. I say that you need, like you have in the other sector of the boating industry, engines, boats, and so on, how you have to build a boat, you have to keep a boat, which engine, how have to be safe, your fuel tank have to be done to be safe. The same has to be done for the electric power and for the electric boats, because to take care of the safety of the pleasure of the boaters on the water is completely different than on the road. You have more risk. That's why we really need rules, and it's very important that rules don't have to be done by bureaucrats, but have to be done by politicians. That have to be, I don't know if in English that means correct, that's illuminated politics. Yes. No, illuminated. Illuminated politicians, so politicians who can see far away, that to make rules, sharing together with the builders and the users and all the stakeholders. So not to make rules that are blocking something, but that are promoting something. This is the biggest challenge for the rules that in Europe have to be done. Because the rules that in Italy we can do will be done when European rules will be done. And then we can harmonize it, we can take it and use it in Italy, like we do with every RCD. But before it have to be done in Europe and then harmonize it in Italy or in the other countries. And of course, in this process, the fiscal help are very important, because when you have to push something, if you trust something is important, if you want to push it, you have to help the people, because batteries are still expensive and engine are still expensive, so you have to do in a way, but because why are expensive? Because there is not a big number of engine production. Bigger are numbers, less are expensive. So, but this is kind of crack, because you need many numbers, but you cannot sell because it's too expensive. So you need help. If you trust in this, you need help from the economic help to the final customers that they will never buy anyway. And the other side is we need less bureaucracy to make charging points.
Yes.
Okay, and there is another big issue: how the batteries, especially the battery packs, have to be done, but especially how the battery packs have to be dismantled. At the end light of the battery, where are going? So this is the biggest challenge. The second step, but not so second step for the electric.
May I add that, of course, it's very helpful when politicians are creating the legislation part. They are creating a procedure. We like to be there on a certain point in a certain time, but electrical propulsion is not the cure for everything.
I agree.
There's a maximum.
I fully agree.
So when I hear your colleagues talking about electrification of everything, all boats, at first you have a fleet, existing fleet with diesel engines running very well. And the second thing is that big boats, well, we don't have batteries for that at the moment.
There is another point, very important. The electric should be, in this moment, is interesting when you use for many, many hours. Because when the normal boater, not in Holland, but in Italy, for example, he's using his pleasure boats for 50 hours a year. And in 50 hours a year is less impacting on the environment, a diesel engine or a normal outboard engine than an electric, because all the story which we're saying now. So there are many levels, and it's very important. We have a lot of boats that have to be changed. You cannot oblige people to change everything. And then, when you have all the boats and all the cars electrics, how you produce the energy to charge all these parts, all these boats and cars? In which way? With the solar panels are enough, you think?
Maybe by fossils.
Exactly.
I have a question, a technical question. Sempre in quella tesi che citavamo prima, io lanciavo un'idea qualche anno fa di usare la batteria come accumulatore per restituire alla rete o ad altre utenze nel momento in cui ero certo di non utilizzare, in quel caso lì l'auto, oggi la boat, la barca. Tecnicamente esiste, il mercato si è spinto in questa direzione, era una fantasia di qualche anno fa e non ha trovato applicazione. Mi spiego, io carico la macchina di sera, la spiego sull'auto perché mi è più semplice, carico la macchina di sera, arrivo al posto di lavoro, in quel momento lì una parte di carica posso sacrificarla, la sacrifico al mercato. Tecnicamente oggi il mercato ha uno spazio in questa direzione o no?
I will raise the question in English. So the question of Angelo is, when he wrote his thesis, at the end of the thesis, he wrote that the possibility to use the energy produced but not used, to give back to the network in a certain way. So the question is, has been done something in that direction during these years, or is still something that is in his mind, I believe?
In the Netherlands, there's a big problem. There's one of the barriers I didn't mention. The big problem is that the electricity network is too small. It needs a lot of money and a lot of time to improve the network. So when you buy your solar panels, or when you use your battery as a power supply instead of power consumption, the network cannot handle it at the moment.
So it's, in theory, is possible, but to make it real, it's something that you need to deal also with the network, with the capacity of the network. So it's possible, but not easy.
Does the same in La Spezia with the hydrogen. They have already plans to do this, but it's something that will be in 1 year or 2 years. But it is possible.
So yeah, using the hydrogen. Yeah, with the hydrogen.
L'idrogeno esiste questa possibilità.
Sì, con l'idrogeno, sì, con praticamente loro lo producono, poi quello che non viene consumato viene immesso per far funzionare la fabbrica.
Hydrogen is a very good, another road to follow for the decarbonization, but in this moment it's still very dangerous, especially the boats. So if they don't solve this problem, it's not possible to use it because it's too dangerous.
The bar of we saw this 2 days ago in Milano, the explosion.
Exactly.
Thank you. So from what I understand is that, I mean, the target, so everyone, even if I talk with people, I talk with entrepreneurs, I talk with politicians, so you see that the target is there, so the world is going electric, but the big thing is how to get there. So this is the way that we will go there, what we will do to get there, but the target is already there. So I think we have started. So, and this is a real example that we started thanks to you people, to you guys. So
I'm more not versus, I'm more in the same opinion of Jeroen. It's a mistake to think that world had to go completely to
absolutely,
electric.
yeah, absolutely.
Many possibilities of energy. You have to use all. For example, also in the thermic engines. Now, thermic engines are really, especially in the nautical sector, are really completely different from many years ago. So consumption is very, very small comparing with before. There are engines now that are also cleaning the sea. There are special systems that when they take water to refresh the engine, in the meantime they clean from the microplastics from the sea. And the emissions are very, very low. So that's what I was saying before. When the use is very small, sometimes thermic is better. In other use, electric is better. Hydrogen, for example, will be safe. So we have to think about more open on everything, not to be focused. If we focus only into one side, we'll be mistaken.
That this is the very important role of the politicians is there. So to think about that and to talk, to have technical people that are working with there and are giving them the good suggestions, of course. I saw a few years ago the first, it was in the Netherlands, the first tugboat, 100% electric, and it was a very nice example, and it was working perfectly. Of course, it's only an example, and I don't know if you have heard about that tugboat. It was quite a big one, so it was a few years ago. So I mean, it is possible.
Maybe to add to this, that is a tugboat that when it is not under load, is moving on electrical drive, and when it's under peak load, then it's engaged with diesel engine. So it is a hybrid situation. So basically what we expect is that for different types of boats, different propulsion packages will be applicable, just what you are saying and what the person in the audience is saying. So that I think is an important thing to keep in mind. You see mainly smaller boats here. We also in VETUS in Holland, we have 3 boats with various electrical applications. So, you know, if anyone is in Holland, then please, you know, visit us and you can try it yourself. But I think what is also important, that the discussion about electric drives, whether for cars or scooters or anything else, that is, you know, most of the time led by environmental considerations. And of course, that is a very important topic. We discussed that all today, and, you know, it is on top of the agenda. It's very clear. But if you go back to the user of the boat, there are also other advantages to use an electric boat. So, of course, VETUS is also selling diesel engines, so I'm a little bit walking on two legs in that regard, but the advantage of electric drive is also that there is no vibration, there is no fume, there is no diesel, there is no noise, there is no diesel bug, there is, so there are less parts to replace, also easier to install. So, the colleagues in our industry, they will admit that at the same time. So there are also other advantages that could draw a customer into an electric boat rather than a diesel-driven boat or petrol-driven, whatever the case may be. So that's also important, that it's not only discussion on environmental purposes, it's also discussion on the use case that gives advantages versus, let's say, fossil fuels. Okay?
That's another good point. Yeah, thank you. So I have one last question that is for all of you. Do you agree with the sentence that for this specific market, so for the Italian market, that the electric can be real in the near future, so not in 50 years, but in the near future, in places like the lakes, which are inland waterways for the Netherlands, are our canals, I would say. Of course, I would exclude the sea for the near future. But do you agree that for the lakes in Italy can be real in the near future?
Shall I start? I think it's a big yes, but you need to take time and you need to make a plan and communicate it with the users. They need to have time to change their boat. They need to have time to change their thinking about savings. And that's what my colleague here is saying. Everybody likes a boat with a big engine, but we do not use them. So when you're changing it to a smaller electric engine, it's a good boat. It's still a good boat.
Thank you.
I agree with Jeroen. I don't know, small tenders, when you need for a few times, you have to go from the boat to the dock and vice versa. Or for rental boats in lakes. So for sure, there are, like he was saying also, there are many sectors where electric is really the road. And in the lake, in the rivers, channels, of course, is one of the road to follow, because it's no noise, no vibrations, many advantages, and less risk, like I was saying before, because if you stop, it's like on the road, you stop on the side of the channel, so you are not risking. Talking again about the safety, so for sure electric is a good choice, but very important, convince the people to change, give time to the people to change, not make it something mandatory, because in this way you can destroy everything, industries and the nautical sector, because the people maybe will stop to go because they cannot change the boat. Because you must think also about the economical capability of buying boats from the buyers. So it's something that has to be done in a smart way, in giving time to the people, and not stopping, but making step by steps, and making it real and not something that is mandatory, because everything that is made by the law mandatory and obliged normally is refused by the people, especially today.
Good point. Yeah, Marcel, go ahead.
No, I think that is correct. I think it's applicable. In the Netherlands, we show that, but it is also important to take away what I call the range anxiety. So when you have an electrical car, where your battery packs go down, then you have a range anxiety, but then you can park the car or charge it again. So in boats, it is also important that small municipalities and harbors, they create basic facilities in order to be able to charge your boat. So if, for example, in some parts of the Netherlands, you have circuits, or you can go from one point to the other, and you have a lunch, you can charge the boat, you can so there is a charging facility present on the waterfront. And I think that is something that should not be forgotten. I'm not talking about superchargers, that is not immediately necessary, but you should have a certain charging facility present. Thank you.
Thank you. Angelo?
I agree. Sono d'accordo, assolutamente. That's it. Quindi assolutamente va fatto, ci sono spazi importanti nei settori, sicuramente se meditiamo soprattutto sui nostri laghi, il motore elettrico sulle nostre barche può fare la differenza. Insomma, adesso al di là di dar meno manutenzione, dare dei vantaggi di comfort, dei vantaggi di rumore, insomma, cose che conoscete meglio di me, riduzione dei rumori, eccetera. Io penso, insomma, magari un po' meno sull'oceano, ma sicuramente sui fiumi e sui laghi va fatto. È un percorso che va fatto in un tempo secondo me, direi immediato, ecco, e ci sono le condizioni. Ma prima tu chiedevi che tempistica può avere. Io penso che i tempi sono maturi, sono totalmente maturi. Anche forse l'utenza è matura, ecco. Sì, purtroppo abbiamo perso. Sì.
So Angelo agrees with you, with all of you, that on lakes, now is the moment. So.
Lago di Friedrichshafen, there is compulsory electric. It's a big lake.
Yeah, I've been there. Yeah, I've been there. Yeah. So, can you tell all the people here that we will start working on this? I mean, it's a kind of maybe we can have the same meeting.
Why to restart? We never stop.
Sorry?
Why to restart? We never stop.
No. Yeah, starting because like a starting
We
point for the
started,
next.
and they are not stopping. We are walking carefully.
Yeah. No, but I mean, can we tell the people here that we will have this kind of meeting, this kind of, I would say, friendship between Italy and the Netherlands next year? So we will see what we have done. We will see.
We are welcoming back HISWA in EBI. They are coming back.
I hope so, and
I'm sure.
okay, good to
maybe
hear.
One extra remark to finish the discussion. I frequently visit Italy for many years. We have a lot of interest here, both on factories working for us and a lot of customers in Italy.
I think you have a passport, Italian passport as well.
Well, almost. But what I see recently is the infrastructure for charging for cars is rapidly increasing. So, of course, in the Netherlands you have it, in Germany, many of these countries have built the infrastructure for cars. So, that is moving into more the normality of that you are able to charge your car. So, if that is the example or the perspective that also the boating industry can have, then in a couple of years you'll be there.
Good. So I can tell you that next year I will be here. I hope all of you will be here as well. I hope so. And so we will have the same discussion, but what I hope is that same discussion, but at the higher level. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you all of you.